The storm did not arrive gently that night. It tore through the city like an old wound reopening, dragging wind, rain, and regret through every narrow street, and if anyone had been watching the trembling silhouette of a man struggling against it, they would never have guessed that this single moment would quietly change the course of two broken lives forever. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of doing the right thing even when no one is watching, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, subscribe to the channel for more heartfelt stories, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Ethan Miller was a man worn thin by responsibility. At 34, he carried the weight of a life that had demanded maturity far too early, etched into the permanent lines on his forehead and the careful way he measured every decision. He was a single father to a 6-year-old boy named Noah, a child with wide, thoughtful eyes and a habit of falling asleep clutching his father's shirt as if the world might slip away if he let go. Ethan worked as a maintenance supervisor at a high-rise corporate building downtown, a job that paid just enough to keep the lights on, the fridge half full, and the dreams modest. His boss, Victoria Hale, was everything Ethan was not allowed to be. She was powerful, impeccably dressed, emotionally distant, and known throughout the company as a woman who demanded excellence but rarely noticed the human cost behind it. To Ethan, she was simply the reason overtime was mandatory and weekends were often sacrificed. That night, the storm forced the office building to shut down early. Elevators groaned, lights flickered, and most employees rushed out eager to escape before the rain worsened. Ethan stayed behind, as he often did, making sure the backup generators were stable. By the time he stepped outside, the city had transformed into a blur of water and shadow. As he crossed the empty parking lot, he noticed a car idling at an odd angle, hazard lights blinking weakly through the rain. Something felt wrong. Drawing closer, he saw Victoria slumped over the steering wheel, soaked, disoriented, her expensive coat useless against the cold. The smell of alcohol mixed with rain hung heavily in the air, and it was immediately clear she was in no condition to be there alone. Ethan hesitated, knowing full well the unspoken rules of hierarchy, knowing how dangerous it could be to cross invisible lines. But then he imagined Noah waiting at home, trusting him to always do the right thing, and something steadier than fear took hold. He pulled Victoria from the car just as a violent gust rocked it, guided her through the downpour, and called for emergency help. By the time help arrived, Ethan was soaked to the bone, shivering, anonymous once more as the ambulance lights disappeared into the storm. He returned home long after midnight, exhausted, never expecting that night to follow him beyond the rain. The next morning arrived quietly, sunlight pale and fragile, as if the world itself was unsure what remained after the storm. Ethan was making breakfast when a knock echoed through his small apartment. It was an unexpected sound, firm but hesitant, and when he opened the door, the sight before him stopped time. Victoria Hale stood there, stripped of her corporate armor, wearing simple clothes, eyes tired, face bare of makeup, holding an envelope with hands that trembled slightly. She looked less like a powerful executive and more like someone who had been standing at the edge of something irreversible. She did not step inside. She did not smile. She simply stood there, carrying a weight heavier than the storm itself. The envelope contained documents Ethan did not expect to ever see connected to his life, papers that revealed a truth Victoria had hidden for years. She was not merely recovering from a night of drinking. She was running from grief, from guilt, from a past that had quietly destroyed her family and left her alone in a world full of people. The drinking had started after the death of her younger brother, a man she had failed to save, a man whose life had unraveled in much the same way hers was now threatening to do. The storm had not been the danger that night. It had only exposed it. Victoria confessed that Ethan saving her had forced her to confront the person she was becoming, and more painfully, the person she had already lost. She revealed that she had been planning to resign, to disappear before her weaknesses surfaced publicly. But instead, she had come to his door with a secret and an offer that would change both of their lives. She wanted to step down temporarily, enter rehabilitation, and entrust Ethan with a role far beyond maintenance, a position she believed he had already earned through integrity alone. She wanted to rebuild the company culture she had poisoned with pressure, and she wanted someone honest to help her do it. Ethan did not accept immediately. The weight of responsibility pressed against old fears of failure. He thought of Noah, of stability, of how easily hope could collapse. But over the following weeks, as Victoria followed through on her promise, entering treatment, confronting her pain, and slowly returning with humility instead of authority, Ethan saw something rare. He saw accountability. He saw a woman learning how to live again. And as he stepped into a new role, navigating unfamiliar meetings and decisions, he learned that his quiet strength had always been leadership, just never recognized. Months passed. The building felt different. Employees smiled more. Overtime became optional. Ethan came home earlier, helped Noah with homework, watched him sleep without fear gnawing at his chest. Victoria returned changed, sober, softer, no longer hiding behind titles. She never forgot the night in the storm, and she never let Ethan forget that kindness had saved more than just a life. It had saved a future. If this story has touched your heart even a little, if it reminded you that compassion can ripple farther than we ever imagine, please take a moment now to like the video, share it with someone who believes in hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps these stories reach others who need them most. And before the ending, please comment below with a single word that describes how this story made you feel, because your words matter more than you know. In the end, the storm was never about rain or wind. It was about the quiet moments when a person chooses courage over comfort, humanity over hierarchy, and kindness over fear. Ethan never set out to be a hero. He simply refused to walk away. And sometimes, that is enough to change everything.